Yo, what's going on, Senpai Squad? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today it's finally time to talk about Boruto episode 124. The series is still going in the same direction as what I mentioned last week, which is a positive. Obviously, I said that the last episode prior to this one was a step in the right direction, and I feel as though this episode did somewhat continue that step. However, it's still nowhere near the end destination right now, and it's still got a lot of room for improvement. However, because I feel as though the next episode is going to be sort of like the finale of this Urashiki fight. I mean, obviously, I don't mean that in the sense that Urashiki is going to lose. End of arc, sorted. I mean, as though for the last 3 episodes, we've sort of had this ongoing little fight with Urashiki, whether it be a couple of episodes ago, it was with the puppet, and then also last episode as well was with the puppet, and then the most recent one, which was sort of with Urashiki. And I feel like the next episode will be the end of this arc. Something will happen, not the end of the arc, the end of the fight. Something will happen as to make Urashiki put a halt to what he's doing for a short period of time. That's what I think will happen. So it's safe to say that I'm expecting a lot from next episode, which a lot of the time has come back to bite me, because sometimes I've gone into episodes with too high expectations, but I'm hoping that this episode's not going to be one of those, especially with the reveal of the Jogan going to be in it. But if I had to rank this episode going off Boruto's anime, I'd probably say it was a 4-star episode. It's still not near a 5-star yet at all, in my opinion. It's a low 4, probably. And once we actually get into what you guys have to say, there's some interesting comments. One in particular which really made me think a little bit harder about my score. But because 4 was my initial thought, I thought, I'll stick with it because that's what my gut told me to do. However, there was definitely some interesting points to be made with this episode. Anyway, enough of all that. Let's jump into what you guys had to say. So 47% of you guys went with a 5-star rating for this chapter. But I want to jump straight into this. And I hate to start on a negative, but it did really intrigue me. So Hugo Prodigy says 2 stars. The anime isn't even trying anymore. The logic has been completely thrown out the window and made Urashiki into a joke who couldn't even deal with 2 genins and get outsmarted when his Byakugan has terrible range, and yet Hinata was able to see for over 20 kilometers, and Hiyashi was able to see the other scope of the earth when the Jubi spit the Biju bomb on the other countries. I was hoping Sasuke would come in the end and save the trouble. Now that really did interest me, because it's a good point with the Byakugan, because I thought that, to be honest, was really dumb. How Shinki was like, no, we'll just take a different route and you won't be able to see us with the Byakugan. Like, that was so stupid in my opinion. It was really, really dumb. I mean, when you think back to Neji, when in the Sasuke retrieval, and how he could see all through the forest and all that, and all in Shippuden with what the Byakugan was capable of, all that type of stuff. And in this, Urashiki and Otsutski, someone who is naturally blessed with some of the best Byakugan eyes out there, was fooled by 2 people turning left. It didn't make much sense. I thought it was a bit silly. Another thing which also sort of didn't make sense, but at the same time I could debunk what I'm about to say on the spot anyway, so it's sort of a lose-lose for me here. But if Urashiki wanted to intercept them on the border of the Leaf Village, then why didn't he just teleport to the border, the bridge which he was waiting at? Why didn't he just teleport there? He's teleported between places in the past before. He's teleported onto an actual moving train which Gaara was on, but he couldn't teleport to a bridge. It's like, I sort of know that, he did fly there just in case maybe he saw them on his way there, but what difference does it make? I don't know what they're doing with Urashiki, and I think that's been my biggest gripe with this arc so far, is that although it's supposed to, it doesn't feel serious yet. And I understand that Urashiki, he's maybe been made out to look like a joke so far, and how he's being beaten by 2 genins, but this is nothing new with Urashiki. We've seen it a couple times now He's not trying in the slightest. Not in the slightest. And it's going to bite him in the end, because we saw in the Chunin exam arc when Momoshiki first attacked and he fought Gaara and Chojuro. He wasn't trying then, and it almost cost him. He had to escape out of there. And then also in this arc as well, for example, he let himself get caught by Gaara in the fight with Shukaku. He let him get caught by Shinki's puppet in this episode because he was careless. And something about him needs to change. Not like he's a bad character, but if he wants to succeed, I suppose, he's got to start taking people seriously. I mean, we didn't really get to see much of the fight versus him and with him, Gaara, and Sasuke, so I imagine at some point, or at least I hope, we'll get a flashback of how that actually happened. But maybe he wasn't even going serious then, and it's interesting because people clearly aren't liking that side of Urashiki, so I just thought it's an interesting point. You made a great point with this Byakugan. I'm really glad someone did bring that up because I really wanted to talk about that, but let's jump into more of the comments now. So KSF Superstar, with a more positive tone, said that this episode was great, I enjoyed it. Shinki summoning his puppet was a big dream come true for me. Also, I like the fact that they explained why Sasuke is taking so long to come back to the fight. It makes sense, he used up a lot of chakra just searching for Urashiki. Anyways, next episode is the Rin Sharingan versus the Jogan. Hype. Now, first of all, the Sasuke thing, yeah, I did like that. I mean, it was sort of obvious, but at least they clarified on it. As for Shinki's puppet, I was shocked to see it. I genuinely was really shocked to see it because I thought that his puppet was scrapped, because obviously in the movie arc, in the movie even, he had his puppet, which we saw in this chapter, but in this episode, but we never actually saw it in the movie arc when they finally reanimated it. They in fact introduced Araya, who was a puppet user on his team, and I thought that puppet was essentially turned into an entire member of his squad, i.e. Araya. That's what I thought had happened. I thought the Puppet Master was moved away from Shinki, but we saw in this episode that he still has his puppet. Now, part of me was thinking, well, where was that in the tuning exams? Why did he never use that in the tuning exams? And I suppose, I mean, the only technique we've seen his puppet do at the minute is a sealing technique. And if that's the only thing his puppet can actually do, then it does make sense why we didn't see it in the tuning exams. So, I mean, I'm not going to be too annoyed and call it a plot hole or whatever, even if it does do other stuff. But if it does only seal, then that does explain it. But it was really cool to see it because it's probably the coolest looking puppet in all of Naruto. So I'm glad that it wasn't scrapped, because that would have been a huge waste if it had been. Aaron Gwillan chips in and says that this Urashiki guy is supposed to be stronger than Madara and Hashirama. I understand he isn't bloodlust, but imagine Boruto and Shinki fighting Madara. They would die in 1 second. Anyway, the next episode does look hype. And again, this does sort of feed into what I was saying before, that although the stakes are high, it doesn't quite feel like it right now. Because I think we all know that Boruto and Shinki shouldn't be able to stand a chance against Urashiki. Not at all. Not even a competition. Naruto and Sasuke are probably going to be the ones that end up defeating Urashiki if he gets defeated. Now, Boruto will probably play a significant role in that fight because at the end of the day, he does have protagonist powers. However, and I saw some people saying this, and I don't think it'd be the case because the writers aren't that stupid, and if they are, then I dread to think about what else they could possibly conjure up. But I don't think Boruto and Shinki will take down Urashiki because it just brings up way too many issues. But I do understand where you're coming from. Urashiki could easily wipe the floor with Boruto and Shinki, and I understand that it's his character to be a bit careless. However, I do feel as though there's potentially a time when that part of him will get a bit boring and really start to become very repetitive. So Alvin Annis says that although they've been doing the same character arc time and time again for Boruto in the anime, I'm not going to lie, I enjoyed today's episode. Progression, and can't wait to see how Boruto uses his Jogan in the next episode. I too am also really excited to see the Jogan because I've started to think, because I've never been a huge fan of the Jogan. I've always thought it's been interesting, but until it appears in the manga, I've not been overly bothered about it. But I thought maybe its main reveal will be in the manga and everyone will be shocked in that, because if I'm not mistaken, Nobody's seeing the Jogan right now. Maybe Sasuke. Maybe. So if they keep it like that and we keep seeing some of the Jogan here and there in the anime, but no one can see it, and they save the big reveal for everyone seeing it actually for the manga, that would be an interesting take on the Jogan. But going back onto your point about Boruto and his character development and arcs in the anime, I sort of do agree with you. Boruto in the anime, he's probably one of the characters I sort of care least about. Not that it's a bad thing. I think the writers in general have a very tough job with writing Boruto because, and just writing the anime in general, really, to some degree, because they have to be careful. Boruto can't get any huge character development in the anime only arcs because all of that comes in the manga. If you think the biggest piece of development Boruto's ever gotten in an arc came from the Momoshiki arc, which was in the manga, and the same happens again as the manga goes on, he gets more development, which the anime can't really tap into, or it's there but it's all locked away and they can't get there. They can only take out little bits and just sprinkle them into anime only arcs and call it a day, unfortunately. And it's why I'm a little bit concerned about how they're going to carry Kawaki's character when he finally comes into the anime, because his development is absolutely astronomical in the manga, and if it's going to be kept to the manga arcs, it does make me slightly concerned, but at the same time interested about how they handle his character in the anime. But I do sort of agree with you on Boruto that it's sort of repetitive. It's not overly interesting, but like I said, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I do respect that their job is very difficult with characters such as Boruto, which is why I think characters like Iwabi, Denki, to a certain extent, Metal Lee, all of those, that's why I think they're all introduced and they've put so much focus into developing them as side characters, because that they might as well. Because I'm starting to think that characters like Iwabi, Denki, Namida, Wasabi, I'm starting to think that they may never actually appear in the manga. I feel as though they may just be anime only characters, which again isn't a bad thing because they have to develop someone and they have to create tension and stories with someone, so they use those characters, which, like I said, some people may not enjoy it, but it's what they've got to do. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like on it. Subscribe if you're not ready to become a member of the Senpai Squad. As I keep saying time and time again, we're trying to hit 3K by the end of the year. So if you're not already, please do your bit. Please subscribe by hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell as well, actually. Leave all your thoughts and opinions on this episode in the comment section down below, as always. I'll be seeing you guys in another video. But until then, peace. 執着の地獄がす寡黙なものをおびき寄せられた神々の化身恐れを知らぬ剣が貫く目指す場所とはまだ見ぬ定め近づいてくる決戦の時